It worked. Yeah.
Hi! Yay!
This is so.
Oh my gosh. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Woohoo!
Okay. I'm nervous.
Yay!
It works.
I same. Literally not it snowing again, girl. Like what's going on?
Literally, I can't. Like, I went out today and I was like, why? Just why?
Of all days too, I'm like, is this a joke? Like, is Elvis playing a joke? Because it's
Look,
not funny. Literally. Literally. It wasn't funny last time. Not funny this time. But this time we're making it happen, so
everything's happening right now.
yes, thank goodness. Because that was not guys, like we had to reschedule this because Mary didn't have power. Like that's
It
embarrassing.
happens though.
It
It really
does too often.
is the weather. Like, it's unfair, but.
I know. Well, like you're in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
probably get crappy weather all winter too.
Oh, yeah. Snow, flooding. It doesn't end. It literally,
Literally.
like,
The flooding. What's with the flooding, guys?
yeah, I
Like,
don't. Mother Nature, I
yeah,
guess.
well, I love that. I love that for us. But we're here. We made it.
This is so exciting. I have
I'm so excited.
no idea. I have
Yeah.
weird post-its in here of like certain
I
things.
I need to start doing that because I like fold the page. I don't know if you can see, but I like
Fold
fold my pages and it's I know. And then they like rip off and I'm like, oopsies.
as
Like
a library employee, that kills
I,
me a little bit, but
I know. I need to like revise my system.
everyone has a job, you know. Just how it is.
Yeah, but like we need to take care of these Elvis books, you know? Like Mary's got to get it
That's
together.
true. But I
Um,
like to say that when they're a little damaged, it means that they're well loved and that you read
ex-
them. So that's what matters.
exactly that. We love the Elvis pages marked and highlighted and all the jazz. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
I guess we can start off by like low key like telling people like how we met because I think that would be cute.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. You want me to tell her or you?
I guess we could both share
Beautiful.
or
You start. You start.
um. So over Elvis week this past summer, I was in the Peabody Hotel with my mom, and I saw the
Lisa.
side of her come out. Now, mind you, I've been fangirling over like things since the beginning of time, and
Right.
like for years, I felt like my mom was very like mellow about her, her love for Elvis. Like she was like, "Oh yeah,
Sure.
I like him," but like she wasn't like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now in the past like 2 years, it's like Elvis all the time, and I love it. I'm like, this is where I get it from. Like it makes so much sense now. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I relate. I relate to that.
he's just there.
Yeah.
So we're in the Peabody Hotel, and all of a sudden my mom's like, "Oh my God, I think I see Mary," and I'm like, "Who is Mary?" This girl I've been following on Instagram for so long, and I love her, and I follow all her content. I'm such a big fan, and she's like, "We have to go meet her," and she starts running, and I'm like, "Girl, where are we going?"
Sprinting.
Like running up the
Yes.
stairs, and it was just so amazing. I've never seen my mom so happy to meet someone in my life, and she was like, "Hi, Mary," and then we all like got introduced, and it was just
Yes.
that's where it all began.
It was the best, like literally top five moments of Elvis Week for me. Like that was such, and then we kept running into each other like different nights of the week. Like we would just keep
Wild.
like, yeah, we would just keep running into each other and be like, oh my gosh, like, and by the end of the week we were like best friends because we just kept seeing each other,
It was so fun.
and it was
Just
so
like
fun.
on
I literally,
passing, like, hey, hey.
literally, like, guys, if you had never been to Elvis Week, it's so great because like I didn't even know that you guys existed. And then like you meet people that like maybe know of you or you know of them and you meet for the first time and then you're just like doing a book club live one night together. And it's so fun and I'm so glad I met you guys. Like I'll always I hope you come again because I miss you and I want to see you again.
Oh, I am. I'm coming this summer. You already. I'll be back.
Yes, that's so I'm so excited. I
I
miss
miss
y'all.
you too. Oh.
And your mom, Lisa, tell her I said hi.
Yeah, she's on here. She's
Lisa.
adding some commentary somewhere.
Oh my
I
gosh.
said she's reborn
Queen.
again. She met you or something.
Stop it. You're booked. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love
Uh,
that.
but yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like everything about Memphis and Graceland is just such like a family like oriented experience that
Yeah.
you can't get anywhere else. And
Agreed.
I feel like I miss it every single day that I'm in New York, even though I love New York. But
That's the thing. Like I love where I live too. I love my family, love my like I'm not complaining. but it is like a piece of you is like missing when you're not there. And then like the people too, like it sucks to have to live so far away from like people that you love so much. Yeah,
Yeah, like it's crazy.
it is
It's
crazy.
like I feel like everyone's just so nice, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, like sometimes like I just get like random like gifts from people that I know,
Yes.
or like they reach out and I'm like, oh my god, how are you? And they're like, we miss you, and I'm like, well, we miss you too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. Like I don't know,
I just am still continue to be blown away by like how many people Elvis brings together in this day and age still. Like it's so crazy. But like not at the same time. I'm like, oh, I totally believe it. But then to be like living it and like reflecting on it sometimes, like not to get deep, but I'm just like, I can't believe that I'm meeting people. I would have never thought, like making my account, never would have thought that I'd be making like friends my
literally.
age, you know?
Yeah, I feel the same way because even in the past, like I go to so many concerts with my parents and stuff, and I'm always like the
Yeah.
young person there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, like talking to all these older people and like becoming friends with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but like, where's the people my age that like this stuff?
Yes.
And just refreshing to see that now.
Absolutely. Like I think the movie was a big part of that as well. But even when I was here, like in 2019, like the first person that I followed is like my best friend now, like Maggie, and she's my, I just like, that was shocking to me that like people like me also liked Elvis too. And I think that's what's so great about Memphis is that when you're down there, like you can see it like in person, in real life, like people loving him like all around you. And it's just so great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's just a big community. And I feel like outsiders just like don't get it, until you go experience it.
They literally do not get it. Like, being, that's another thing, being like back home and trying to explain it to people here,
Oh,
they
no. Everyone,
don't.
like, you're going again? Like, why?
Literally, why do you go every year?
Girl,
Why are we paying all this money?
like, you don't get it.
Yeah,
You just don't get it.
you don't get it, bae. No, I literally live for it. Like, countdown is on right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I have my countdown on my phone 24/7 and I look
yeah,
at it.
yeah,
Okay, this many days.
yeah. It's getting me through the days. I'm not even kidding. Like, we need
Me
that.
too. So true.
Uh, uh, I can't wait. Wow, now I'm on like, it needs to be Elvis week now.
And we can bask in the birthday and talk about the book.
Yes,
Just so
yes.
and
Love that.
people didn't know, which I'm sure everyone knows about Lisa's book that's coming out, which I am so insanely excited about.
Stop,
Literally, I
stop.
like hoarding a Barnes and Noble card that I've had for months, and I every time I would go into Barnes and Noble, I'd be like, should I buy this? Should I buy that? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold it. And I
There you
feel like
go.
I've subconsciously knew that she was coming out with this low
There
key.
you go.
Like
That's gonna be like
I knew.
the ultimate, that's gonna be the ultimate book that you do on the book club,
It
I
was so
think.
good. I am so excited to read that. I think Riley is going to do a great job putting the pieces together um,
Agree.
and presenting it for us. And I'm happy that, her legacy will live on through that because there was so much that she wanted to say and
Yes.
she didn't get to before she passed. Really,
Yeah. It's so, that's such a, like, I've been thinking about that over the past few days, and that's such a gift, like, to have a book written by somebody that, like, deserves to, like, I just wish Elvis, like every day, I wish Elvis would have had that opportunity, or like, you know, someone would have published like his journals or something. Like, I don't know. But that's such a privilege to be able to hear their own thoughts because now, like, with Elvis, we kind of have to read everything we can to try to piece together everything,
yeah.
which is helpful, obviously. Um, but like getting it from their own mouths is just like such a blessing.
Yeah. And I think too, I thought it was interesting. In the book, Jerry mentions that Elvis wanted to write a book
Hmm.
and said that if I write the book, I want you to help me, Jerry. And I honestly, like, for me, I feel like this book just, out of all Elvis books, speaks to me the most because it's like, I feel like Elvis, like, really entrusted Jerry in that way in their friendship. So I feel like we get the most, like, truthful representation of him
Yeah.
through this. And it
I
a
think
lot of
I
things.
agree with you, and I think it's really something that like was special about this book to me is like Jerry took like time off from like, now and again to do things that he was passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
like other career paths and things like that, and it seemed to like never affect how close they stayed in their friendship. And I think that that's something that's like very rare because it takes like a special kind of bond to make like a friendship last even when you're not together 24/7, and like especially when your life is Elvis Presley's life. Like he lived a crazy existence. So like the fact that they were still as close as they were even though he did other things, that really stands out to
Yeah,
me.
and I think it really shows too that like how much Jerry valued his friendship with Elvis,
Mm.
and he wasn't just using him for, you know, oh, I'm friends with a rock star or whatever. Like, no, Jerry really valued that friendship, and he knew when to step away when things were, you know, getting
Yeah.
tough. He wanted to go on his own venture and have his own career and do his own thing.
Yep.
And I feel like that's something that I guess maybe not a lot of people would really do or think about.
Yeah.
Um, I guess especially like in Elvis's world too, because he took care of so many people.
Yeah. Yes, that's something you have to remember too. But like you said, like Jerry mentioned so many times, like he could sense something getting, a certain way. And he's like, I don't want anything to affect what we have. So I'm going to take some time and like do this or whatever. And then even when he was off doing whatever, Elvis would call him and be like, hey, do you want to go do this with me? Or like doing a, meet up wherever. And it was just like man to man, like friends doing friendly stuff. So
I always thought that was so funny. It's like he's like, oh yeah, I'm just like here, and all of a sudden getting a call like,
yeah.
hey, come meet me. Like, oh,
Yeah. They loved like hanging out together and spending time with each other.
I got a plane for you. Come meet me.
I got a plane for you. I'm done. Very Elvis.
um, there was one thing when I was like reading throughout the beginning of the book and then the transition to when Jerry was on the set with Elvis, and
Yeah.
how he first started off at that show that he snuck into, like giving Elvis a soda because he was like, hey Jerry, can you give me a soda? And now
Yeah.
he's sitting on set and he's talking about how he had like Elvis's favorite water
Yeah.
always with like a new bottle every single time he would come off the set.
Hmm.
And he was like, if Elvis would have asked me to be his, come to LA to be his water boy, I would have said no. But I'm just doing this because I'm his friend and I want him to stay hydrated. And I'm
Yeah.
like, from that to that, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know why that stuck with me so much, but I was like, wow,
That's
wow, like
so true. And I think that speaks, I mean, like, say what you want about like the guys, right? Like the mafia, but I do feel like a lot of it was them not like I feel like people kind of pin it on them that they oh, they were just his servants or like they were just like the guys who waited on him or whatever. But I do think like a lot of that was just care for him and like wanting to take care of him because they were friends and like I think Elvis repaid that all the time and Elvis took care of them constantly, and so it was like a balance of like them taking care of him and him taking care of them.
yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
And I feel too that I guess that generosity that Elvis had and that regard for friendships really resonated just like perfectly in Jerry's book.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm trying to put it into words, like it's in my head, but
I know it's so hard, I feel
like
you.
I don't know. I'm just like constantly when I read it, when I every time I just like constantly blown away, but by like what Jerry says and how
Yeah.
he said it. And I don't know. I feel like I've read so many other books in the past, just like different things, but the way that Jerry's character is, it really comes through his
Yeah.
book, which I feel like is hard to catch sometimes when you read people's like biographies or autobiographies or whatever.
Hmm.
Like you just felt that spirit of him and that friendship. I don't know where I was starting with this, but
Yeah, no, I hear you though. Because sometimes you do read like books that are so clearly written, and like no shade, I don't even know who I'm thinking of, but I'm thinking generally like books that are written to like promote like, hey, I knew this guy. Yeah, I'm important because I knew this guy, and like just like spouting stories of like this one time I did this with Elvis, and this one time we did this, and this other time, and it's just like stories that for whatever reason are just like there. But I think Jerry did a really good job of like you're saying, like tying in like the human, and he literally even says that. He's like, this book wasn't intended to be written to brag about my life with him.
you know,
It was written to show like my friend and like who I knew Elvis Presley as a person, which I think makes a difference when you're writing a book from that perspective than writing a book just to brag about like I knew a really famous guy and like I spent time with him, if that
and
makes sense.
I mean every excerpt I felt just had so much meaning to it.
Yeah.
Everything was intentionally put in there for a reason.
Hmm.
Like those personal conversations that they would have, and I mean, the fact that Jerry even said like his favorite times with Elvis was just sitting with him at night and the two of them just talking.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
I
special.
feel like someone else would say like, oh, like my favorite time was going on this vacation or
Yeah,
whatever, or doing this. You
yeah. The one time he paid for
that.
this, like, yeah,
Like, no,
yeah,
I'm just sitting up and talking with him at night. Like
right,
that's my heart. Like I
yeah,
can't.
right. And like that's, I feel like we relate to that a lot because if there's one thing, I mean, for me, if there's one thing I wish I could have done if I ever knew him in a life, I just want to talk to him. Like, I just want to sit and let him, like, just shut up and let him take the wheel and talk. And I think that Jared did like a really nice job of capturing what that would have been like just to be his friend. I think that he did like a very nice job of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess like I feel like especially in this day and age, a lot of people just don't like talk like they used to.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like seeing that perspective and understanding that through Jerry's book, it's like it just makes me feel like I want to be like so more connected to people. Like, in
yeah,
the community here, like or just anywhere, like just having like sit down conversations. And I mean, I always feel like anytime I have those like sit down conversations with friends, it just means so much more. And like you remember those times more than you remember like something fast paced or quick or like, oh, like, this happened and that, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you're doing a stellar job with it here. Like, you're talking to people. And I feel like that's, that's something that I love seeing in this community. It's just people, like two people sitting down and like having a conversation because they learn so much from each other and like you learn more about things you didn't know about. I just think like people talking and connecting in that way is so special. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels so much nicer,
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. Your mom said Lisa said something that I was just about to say too. And she said I think it was written more for Lisa to set things straight after so many other books were written. And that's what I was thinking. Like I think that Jerry like loved the Presley family so much and still does. And like obviously you can hear that through everything he says. But I think that's one of the reasons why this book was so special is because he wrote it like with such a love for the whole family and just like looking out for them and looking out for Lisa especially and like knowing how much that she loved her dad and how much it mattered to her that his story was shared in a respectful like way. That's something that I've always respected and like loved about Jerry is how he like really stood up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's one thing I caught from the whole book is there is no moment where Jerry bashes anyone.
No.
And, you know, I feel like that just goes to show, like, his soul and how great of a person he is, that
Ah,
even if things did happen in the past or whatever, like, he was not here to shame anyone or put anyone down.
right.
And I think what could have possibly been a big um, step two in that direction was the fact that um, like Red's book and their book was coming out at
Yes.
that time where he
Yes.
how that was like a painful thing for Elvis. And one thing that
Yes.
stuck with me was how Elvis said he wasn't even worried about his own reputation. He was like, everything has already been said about me. I'm concerned about my daughter and my family and my friends and everyone.
Yep.
I don't want them to be
Yep.
affected. And when I read that, that weighed so heavy on me. I was like, wow, that is such a selfless statement
Yep.
to make. And I feel like Jerry just understood him on a different level where he was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it respectfully, and I'm not doing this to like make a profit off of him or anything. I'm just doing this friend to show his
Yep.
story. And I think people forget that a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's so, I feel so strongly about like, I mean, you brought up the book, but like that and just that's something that really stood out to me too, is like how he was saying like things have been written, things will always be written, and like we talk about this all the time, like it will never stop. Like his name is always going to be circulating in whichever manner it will be, but like he was always worried about Lisa and like his family and the people, his friends, and I think that Jerry also felt he knew how much, like I'm just reiterating what you said basically, but like he knew how much Elvis felt about that. And I think that that's why he took such good care of Lisa and like even Priscilla and like, I mean, you were saying he didn't even bash the Colonel. Like he had like, you could get like the vibe that he didn't always agree with everything that the Colonel did, but he wasn't like sitting back and like wishing death upon anyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was just telling it as he saw it from his perspective.
Yeah, I feel like there was just such a level of respect, and like even in a way I thought it was interesting how Jerry even kind of stated that seeing how the Colonel and Elvis interacted and like kind of went on in that management spiel, and like how that influenced his further management later
Yeah,
on, and learned from just being in Elvis's presence and being on movie sets and being on film sets and just observing everything.
yeah,
He said like so many of the guys would just sit around and play cards while everything was going on, but he was sitting there like absorbing everything around
yeah,
him because he was just so ready about
right.
everything. It kind of goes to show, I guess, that difference in perspective and the uniqueness of him as a person, which I find very interesting.
Me too.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and this is just why, like, it's my favorite. He's my favorite book. Like, his story is my favorite.
He's a really great guy. Did you meet him during Elvis Week by any chance? Did you ever get to
I
like meet him?
think he did a. I went to a panel that he was on. I forgot what year it was. Was it? It might have been the.
Was it the Conversations one?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Or Lisa's, did you go to
Yeah.
Lisa's memorial thing?
Yeah.
Okay. He was at that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
My mind's like
I
all.
know, same. I'm like, what did
But
I do yesterday, let
I.
alone Elvis Week? But yes,
Yeah. So I did see him.
yeah.
Um.
So we got to hear him speak in person, and I would say that he speaks just as lovely as he
He
does in his
does.
book. Yeah.
It's like just yeah.
He's awesome. And I definitely an there's just like those Elvis people that like you're like, oh man, I would really just love to personally like thank them for the things that they've done for him. And he's one of those people for me that I would just like to shake his hand and say
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, even I thought it was so interesting too, especially the fact that he included other stories about other interactions that he had with people and like
Mhm.
his other jobs and things like that. And especially, I really appreciated the mention of the
Yeah.
Beatles and when they met this, and I was like so excited about that
Yeah.
because I'm such a big Beatles girl, and I'm like, okay, he's just casually talking to Paul McCartney about like a bass line, like okay, like what?
Yeah. No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, the amount of times I was like, oh, I was sitting next to Mick Jagger like in an elevator, and like he, but whatever, and I'm like,
I
no,
know. I
like,
something that like I loved about Jerry's story in general is just the the special bond that he had with Elvis that he could like talk about like filmmaking and acting and like just that side of things because I feel like that's a part of Elvis's like career that definitely does not get enough attention and like rightfully so. Like I feel like maybe he wouldn't want it to have as much attention because it wasn't like something he was proud of. I mean, to be honest, but like Jerry shone such a specific light on like how much like that hurt Elvis to not be given that chance, and like just like from the side of like I didn't even know until I read this book that he was a filmmaker. I did
I
not know that, and that is so cool.
I just knew that he managed the Beach
Yes.
Boys, and I didn't know anything else. And then I was reading all this other stuff, and like, what? Like, what do you mean he did this?
I know. And then he was talking about like he really wanted the chance to like edit or like help like on the team of like an Elvis movie. I'm like, that would have been insane and awesome. And that's just so cool. Where was I even going with this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But anyways, through those like interactions with like being on set, like you were saying, like just to read like he mentioned like Rock Hudson or something, like watching Rock Hudson act and something. I was like, that's actually crazy that you saw Rock Hudson. Like let's talk about that.
Yeah, like what?
Crazy. Just these really cool people that he got to work with. Like Elton John, like I don't know. Just
Yeah,
it's
when he was like, Elvis was gonna talk to me first before Elton John had.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I was like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah. Like tell me you're my friend without telling me you're my friend.
and like, the level of that, and I don't know, just the way that Elvis always remembered everyone that was there for him in the beginning.
Yeah.
Any
Yes.
saw someone that he knew from way back when, he would go out of his way to make sure that he spent the time
Yep.
talking to them and appreciating them. And
Yep.
I feel like, not saying that, I don't know, everyone's like this, but I feel like there's so many times where, people forget about, um, like where they came from or
The
who
roots.
got them places. And
Exactly.
it's like,
Well, Jerry tells the story of like, I forget where it was, but they were somewhere and Elvis saw Marion
yes, yes,
and yeah, and like went up to her and was like, "Oh, this is like the lady who started it all, the lady who was there who started it all." And I was like, "Girl, that was like the first person that you probably ever interacted with
mm,
in your career
yeah,
and you took the time." Like that's really really special.
yeah, it's wild. Like, I, yeah. I don't know where I was
He's just
going there.
yeah. There's just so many things Elvis does that I'm like match it. You can't. Like he's doing I don't know. Just like so many things where I'm like that's just an unreal thing to do. He was just like so special in so many ways.
Yeah, the amount of times, like, he'd be like, "Oh, your car is broken. Here's a new one."
Here's a new one.
Like, what?
Literally. Literally,
What?
I love
Here you
right.
go. Um,
Like here's a house, here's, do you need some money? Just give me my
or
checkbook.
when they were on that flight that time, they only had $500, and he was like, "Jerry, give it to the soldier," and he's like, "But we need it," and he's like, "No, but this guy needs it more than we need it," and I'm like,
Yep. Yep.
"Who does
Yeah.
that? Like, who does that?"
I know. I was laughing too, when I think it was like the time when they went to go see Nixon or
Oh,
whatever, and they were just like on the plane, and like Elvis is like, "Oh no, I promised the stewardesses a ride home," or
yeah.
something. I
What
was like, "What?"
do you mean?
Yeah,
Like, they're all gonna fit in the car? Like, okay.
just like, "Oh no, I have to give them a ride home." You're Elvis Presley, actually. Like, what are you talking about?
That was so funny. They're
I
just like
was
random.
laughing.
I'm like, okay, like why?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm sure they loved it, girl, but that would make me laugh.
It's just like the level of generosity and the continuous generosity, and you know, I mean, of course, like for people, like money is an important thing, like keeps you stable. But for Elvis, it was like, I have this money, I'm gonna use it for other people and not for myself all the time, because like,
Exactly.
um,
Yeah,
and just like the amount of times he would donate to charities and be like, okay, do this privately though. Like,
right.
I don't want a big thing out of this. And
Anonymously.
you think about it now, like so many celebrities nowadays, it's like everything's constantly on social media. It's like, oh, I donate to this because I donated to this and this and that.
Yeah.
Like, there's just such a different like humility,
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unmatched.
mm,
Unmatched. Definitely. Um, yeah, just blows me away all the time. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just like sitting here thinking about it like, oh my gosh. But I mean, I was just like second nature to him. I feel like I don't know. And I sometimes I say stuff and it's just going too deep and like I don't mean to.
you
But
know,
like
thing I just tangent. Like, where was I
I
going? I
know,
don't
I'm
know.
like, focus on the task at hand, Mary. But like with the whole thing with money, I think at very like a very early age and like a very early stage in his career, he realized that like money was never like the motivating factor for him and it's not what made everything worth it. So I think he never like had an attachment to like being a rich guy who had money. I think like he found the value in like what he was doing was like giving back to people. So people like criticize him sometimes, a lot of the time for like buying things or like I mean in the late 70s he was in a lot of debt because he would just buy things and give it away, buy things, give it away, like buy all, like jewelry and like millions of dollars of stuff and just give it to all these people. And like I get how that could be frustrating to like, your business manager or something. But I think that that's truly like what he found kept him like that was like his purpose was to be able to give it back to some people in some way.
Yeah,
So I think that that's just like so that's really special too because you don't see that today like people just earning everything and then like blowing it or like in terms that they would have used like his like Vernon or whatever who was like really worried the colonel um like you're giving all your stuff away you have no money and he's like well money's like no value if you can't give it back to people or something along those lines so
yeah,
yeah but I love him
yeah.
please
I've just every page I read.
I can see you now. You were just loading, but I can see you now.
I can't. My phone like does this thing. I'll be like, "You have a limit for the day," and I'm like, "Please stop," because so I'm on
You
my phone all the time, and I'm like, "Oh God."
wait, that's actually so fun. It just kicks you off the live and like shuts your phone down.
It just like it will like come up as thing like you can't use the same one. I'm like ignore. So
At least you're like trying to not spend as much time on your phone. That's a good
oh,
thing.
it literally am the worst for it. I'm like no ignore.
Ignore, ignore. Guys, I'm in the middle of something here. Like, leave
Yeah,
me
I'm
alone.
busy. Um,
Ugh.
kind of.
No, sorry.
I was thinking about when we were talking about the film stuff before.
Yeah.
With Jerry, I thought it was interesting how he took such a liking to film and how important that was to him. And I feel like, you know, like seeing how Elvis struggled with that area in his career and how, people didn't take him seriously. I feel like, in a way, Jerry was going down that direction to be like, hey, I take you seriously and I want to do this
Oh,
for you, with
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think that's like when that clicked for me, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, he's not just doing film because he thinks this is fully interesting, like, just whatever. Like
Yeah.
he's about further things that other people aren't thinking about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that stuck with me. I was like, wow, okay.
Literally. And I remember like I think it was like in the end of the book, um everybody always asks you to like, oh, if Elvis was alive, what do you think he'd be doing today? And that's like one of the most like asked questions I feel like Elvis fans get or people who knew Elvis get. And I have never heard anybody say his answer in my life. And he said that if Elvis was still alive, he thinks that he would be a filmmaker and he would like be making movies. And I'm like, I never would have even thought anybody would say that. But like I would love to have seen like them collaborate on a project together or like Jerry write like a script that was worthy of him and like Elvis be able to do that. Um and like maybe there was like plans for that. Like I don't know, like if he didn't like pass as early as he did, like that would have been so cool if they got to do that stuff
Yeah,
together.
like I didn't even think about that really either. And then when she said that at the end, I was like, wait, it honestly makes so much sense because everything that he was saying throughout the book about just like his love for movies and the amount of time they would go to the Memphian and just like
Yes.
oh like that time that he like reenacted a whole movie script.
Yes.
Like what?
Yes. I
I'm like
know.
that the whole entire thing. Like I no, I can't do that.
Literally. Because he was so and that's what like blows me away so much and it breaks my heart because like it's like coming from an actor or whatever like I know how hard it is to be given like a mid script and have to like kind of figure out how to make it like watchable and enjoyable and bring purpose to it. But like having to do that for 8 years, 30, what was it, 31 movies? I read somewhere in the book that he was doing like 3 movies in like 7 months or something crazy. Okay, thumbs up.
Where did that
Stop.
come
What do you do? No, my phone does this weird thing. Wait, hold on. Can I do it? Is it?
if you do certain
Let me do it.
it
Look
makes
at
it
this.
that's so cute.
I get scared because I'm like, what's
I
going
can't
on?
do that. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
Hello.
I kind of wish it would stop though, because what are we doing?
Just like thumbs up.
Yeah.
Really?
Like I did not
No.
you ruined my speech. You ruined my speech. Thank you. Um and no, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, just like I don't I think like ugh, I don't know. I just feel like that would have really because you read about Elvis really wanting to act in the 50s and like that being like his main motivation, like not like so many people have said he wanted to sing and he was great at singing, he loved singing, but he really wanted to be like a good actor like James Dean. And like you can tell that in the early years he had such a spark that could have been honed and like worked on and he could have just done so many great things. And then when he gave that like interview for on tour, and he was being asked like, oh, tell us about like your early sound or whatever, and he gave like such vague answers because like it's something that he has been talking about forever. And then they asked about his movies, and he started to get like deep, and like he really wanted to let them know that like this is not something that I am proud of, and I feel like I could have done better. And I like he really wanted them to know that like that bothered him. And I think, I don't know, I would have loved to just see him get a chance because I feel like he had people downplay him as an actor, but I'm like, girl, if you watch even like some of the later stuff, like he made it funny. Like he was a comedian almost
Mhm.
in so many senses. Like, I don't know. I have strong feelings, but I just wish you would have gotten the chance to practice with that more and develop that talent.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was just, I don't know. I feel like it's so unfair that so many people are like, oh, you mean it like, oh, an Elvis movie? Like,
Yeah,
eh.
yeah,
Like they don't know the level of like, okay, well, actually like watch
right.
some of and like his early work. And I mean the fact that they were making a karate like documentary kind of film thing,
Yes,
I was like, what do you mean they were making
yeah,
this? Like
yeah,
I was, and honestly when I thought about it, I was like, wait, I was like, this is actually, this makes so much sense. It's a passion that he had. And I guess the fact too that they wanted to make it like kind of like a movie before a documentary, and then he was like, no, I want to be a doc.
yeah,
And like, why? But
yeah,
I feel like that's just so much more personal, and it shows more of his personal connection to the art of that. Um,
yeah,
and it's so sad that they didn't get to complete that. You know,
yeah. I would have loved to see something like that.
for like Jerry was such a big advocate of that and helped him with
Mm.
that, and like I feel like out of everyone, Jerry was really the only person that was continuously motivating his film career in that way.
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
like he
It
saw
wasn't
what other people weren't seeing, that Elvis,
exactly,
and he just wasn't going against the grain of like what Hollywood was expecting or what the Colonel was expecting, or
exactly,
you know.
exactly. It wasn't just like 8 throwaway years for, and I think it was that to Elvis. Like, I feel like he just was so disappointed, and like, there was a reason why. I mean, it wasn't all the Colonel who, was behind him turning down roles and stuff in later years. Like, Elvis, I think there was like a really big um like self-consciousness on his part, like even with like the Star is Born, I feel like people pin a lot of that on the Colonel, like, oh, the Colonel didn't let him do it, or like, billing for Barbara Streisand got in the way or whatever. But I can understand why Elvis would shy away from a project that large with a movie star that large, because what he had to show for his movie career, like, you know like not really much. That, and it's hard to put yourself out there, and like, what if he's a flop? Like, what if I'm a flop? And he never like got training. He never got, no one ever worked with him on stuff like that. So I can understand, why he would have, but I totally agree with Jerry, and like the fact that if he was like out of contracts in Vegas, like if he didn't have to do Vegas, if he like, let's just say, got new management, like, had like the world at his feet, could do anything, was feeling better and healthy, like maybe he would have been like, I really want to try, like give it a try at filmmaking again, like give it a try at acting again and see what I can do if I have control of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was just so much potential there that wasn't explored, you know.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I
Yes.
mean, I think one thing that kind of sticks with me now is, the fact that his grandchildren, like Riley, like she's an actress now and she
Right.
works in making, and it's almost like it was like passed down to her in a way,
Hmm.
or like his, Lisa got to do, and his grandkids get to do what
Yeah.
they get to
Right.
do. And I guess like in a sense I feel like that's comforting because it's like, okay, the generations now, like he set that up for them in a way.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
I agree.
I think that's like a beautiful like full circle kind of moment in a way.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I remember Lisa talking to, like, in an interview where she was talking about, like, she really wanted Riley to be able to explore whatever she wanted, um, because she had like the advantage of being able to, be in the industry. And so she was talking about at one point Riley was modeling and she was like starting in like acting and things like that. And Lisa was just saying like, yeah, I want her to explore, I want her to find what she's passionate about. Like she doesn't need to sing. She doesn't need to follow in any footsteps that were like kind of like legacy ties, family ties left for her. And Lisa also did the same thing. Lisa didn't, just follow suit to like what was expected maybe of her, but they all did their own thing. And like you're saying, beautiful like full circle moment, because that's something Elvis in a lot of ways didn't get to do. He didn't get to just follow his own path. In a lot of ways he did. Um and he did what he wanted unapologetically, but in a lot of ways he just wasn't able to do that. He wasn't able to take the lead and make his own decisions on a lot of things. And I think that it hurt him in a lot of ways. And I'm glad that Lisa and Riley can kind of be like the strong women that they are and were, and like take the lead and realize how important that is to like be able to control your own artistry and your own like
Yeah,
path.
and I mean, I feel like a lot of times when you think about, I guess, children of like celebrities and things like that, or like nepo babies or whatever,
Right.
a lot of times it's like they're doing exactly what their parents did,
Yeah.
and people are like, oh, they're just doing that because they have the name and
Yeah.
whatever. But I feel like there was a total difference, with Lisa and everything like that, especially the fact that she went to Jerry and was like, hey, can I have a job? And she was like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yep.
like there was just a different, I don't know. I don't know. There's just like such a difference there, and I don't know if it's that like humility and sense of humbleness that came from Elvis's original background, and
Yeah.
how that, I guess, passed on to her, and like kind of like his perspective and his personality towards things. Like, I guess, like, I feel like she wasn't the kind of person that was like, okay, I'm getting everything held on a silver platter for me. Like, no,
Yeah.
work and
Right.
do and learn, and
Yeah.
you know
Quite the opposite, I think. I think she really wanted, people to look at her as who she was. I think that's why she was so like loud about, and I don't know, like she just was such like a contrast from the kind of music that her dad sang, and she was never like apologetic for that. She always just was very like proud of it and like stuck to that. And I feel like she was, and Riley too, like
yeah,
Riley does the same thing. She's very very proud of like the path that she's on too, it seems to me. I mean, I'm not trying to speak for them, but like that's, I think Elvis would have been very proud of them as well for not like you're saying, like profiting off of the name that they might have and be like, because Lisa could have so easily done that, like, oh, I'm the daughter of the king of rock and roll, I should sing like his music, I'd make bank off of like covering his songs. But she didn't. She did her own thing, and that's one of the reasons she's such an inspiration as well. And like you said, Jerry like played a big part in getting her into the business and things like that too. So he like helped her out as a friend, which is really special as well. But
yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, I think about this too because um I've seen like a lot of different interviews with, Riley talking about, the shows that she's in and stuff,
Mhm.
and especially with Daisy Jones. And people are like, are you gonna do more singing stuff, whatever? And she'll be like, no, I'm more into acting. Like, I'm not really thinking about
Yeah.
that. And I think that goes to show even more so that she has her own path. Her mom had her own path.
Yep.
Oh, I cannot speak.
And
His own
that-
path. I cannot.
the brain's
Anyway,
going too
too
fast for the
fast
lips.
for
Yeah.
my, yeah. But yeah, like,
Yep.
I don't know. And I feel like those things just stick out so much, and that people don't catch or realize until they really think and look about it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. It's really like refreshing. It's really refreshing to see. And like obviously I would love to have seen more from Lisa. Like um like just I would love to have like had another album, or like I know there was talks, and I don't know what's true, but like I heard she was working on like a grief podcast, or like just ways of reaching people that were like struggling or battling the things that she had battled in her life, and just like different things that she would have explored. And now we get to watch Riley do that, which is beautiful and lovely. And like the twins are very young too, so maybe they'll um explore like the industry as well as they grow up. But I don't know, like I think Elvis too, like what we were just saying, if he would have been given the time and the chance throughout his life, I think he would have explored things like making a documentary. Like who would have even thought? Like he no one's like black and white, one dimensional person, and like a passionate person like them, you're not just like into one thing. Like you could have used like your creative energy in any avenue, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So it just would have been cool to see like what else Elvis could have done if given the chance, or like what else Lisa was, I'm sure, having like in the works if she was given time for it. And that can be like a bittersweet thought.
I mean, someone just mentioned about too how amazing it could have been if Elvis and Lisa could have worked on songs
Yeah.
together if he was, which that honestly would have been
Yeah.
insane. You
Crazy.
like can't imagine what they would have came up with, and they,
Right?
they could have both had on each other in
Yeah.
that respect.
Well, that's cool to think about too, because Elvis was just not a songwriter at all. And Lisa wrote all of her
Yeah,
songs. So, like, even if they like teamed up and like wrote something together, or like if Lisa wrote something for him to sing, like, oh my gosh, that makes me
your
emotional. But like
whole
that,
thing, and she made the lyrics and all the, and
yes.
they're just like, all right, let's
Oh
do
my
this. Like that,
gosh.
that would have been insane.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, we could sit here all day and
Yeah,
name all the things we would have loved to see
yeah,
from them. And
um,
I mean, they just like we've been saying, like you could just see the potential that they had, and I think that that's what makes their legacy last even longer, is because like you realize that they were just so like full, and they had so much to offer, and like so they were just like, I don't know, they were just such creative people in every sense of the word, and that just makes them like so interesting, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many layers, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
like reading about that stuff,
Yeah.
especially. I don't know. I'm such like a history buff with things, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I love learning the very little details that people just don't look at. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too. And it's important because, like, you know, we'll never fully understand who they were if we don't, try to find out all these little details about them. And, like, with every book I read and every story I hear, I learn something new. And that's always, like, I'm so grateful for that, because every day I, like, learn a little bit more about who he was. And that's important to us because we weren't there to actually, get to know him while he was here. So now books like these are just so valuable to us in our, look into his life.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like so many people forget that like he was the backbone of rock and roll. If you really think about it,
Yeah,
like if he didn't do what he did, who knows where we would be right now?
absolutely that. Yeah,
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 and I think it's wild. Like there's just so much to learn from that, and like you can learn from other people, and like how many like future people took influence from him, and I just think that's like such a beautiful like thing, you know?
yeah. Something to be commended by too, because like so many people will put Elvis down for like, oh, this is not the conversation we're having, but like the stealing the music and all this other stuff that they love to put on him. It's like, but if you actually knew like what he started, like he didn't, we just have so much like owed to him
Mm-hmm.
for what we have now. And like the music that you listen to all these people of our generation that love to hate, like the music that you listen to, you have to trace it all back and see that like it did come from, like black artists. And like thanks to Elvis, those black artists were given the voices that they deserved. And like, it all stems back to like the history that you're like kind of ignoring by just saying that's like problematic. But you have to really like research it because you're right. Like we owe so much to the pioneers of it all.
Yeah, and I mean, how many times like people be like, "Oh, you're the king," and he'd be like, "No, I'm not." Like this
Yeah.
man, or like this,
Yeah.
and like it wasn't that he was stealing anything. He was putting those voices out there, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Look, they made this,
Right.
and I do because I want to show you what I love,"
Right.
and that's what mattered to him. And it's interesting because if you think about his music, it's like he was always appreciating what other people were doing
Yeah.
and emulating that or like putting that out in the world in his own style.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if you
Yes.
think about it, it's like he wasn't just putting whatever out there for himself, he was doing it for other people, and that just broadens this idea of him constantly giving to other people or
Yeah.
constantly, you know, being worried or concerned about other people and not about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he grew up with this music too. I mean, it was his music too. That was his roots. And like if you're ever in doubt, like you can always look exactly Lisa Queen. Yes, he opened the door. Like, bye. Like if you're ever in doubt, listen to what the artists have said. Like they praise him because they're like they would have never even cared about us if he didn't help open the door for us. Like he he gave us a way in, pretty much. And he always, literally always gave credit, always talked about his influences. Literally in the 68 special, like one of his biggest shows, you can hear him talk about it. And I know we were talking about a little bit like before too, like how he never forgot like the people who were there when he started or like his roots. And that's another big thing. Like the music that he sang was his roots. The music that he became Elvis Presley off of were his roots. And he was always talking about that in every chance that he got, like where this music came from and the people who were responsible for his sound because he didn't make it. Like he's saying it was here long before he was. And so yeah, always like pointing out as a musician the musicians that inspired him, which is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just constantly want to stress that all the time to people that, well, he didn't write his own music and he didn't, like, there's
Yeah.
more to that. Like, you don't get it,
The,
you know?
the people who don't get it just don't get it, girl. Like it's like talking to a wall with some people because it is you have to put a little bit of like effort into understanding because like it's so complex. It really is. And like history is complex. History is not black and white. And so to really understand it and have an opinion about it, you have to like, put a little bit of effort into researching what was actually going on. And, who better to hear it from than the people who were living through it as Elvis was like rising to fame and they were also rising to fame with him. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, I guess we can ask people if they have some questions too. I feel bad I did
Yes.
not get to that. I didn't,
Oh my gosh. Yes,
we
please.
could just go on a tangent about.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, shout out to Jerry. That had nothing to do with him, but
Yeah.
like, we just had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd agree with us.
I mean, even just thinking about Jerry, in the beginning, like listening to Elvis's records or like hearing him on the radio that first time, like
Yeah,
I felt like when I read that for the first time, I was like clutching my chair. Like I was
yeah,
like you just felt how much that impacted him, and
yeah,
to kind of have that perspective of being in his shoes in that moment,
yeah,
and I'm trying to picture like, okay, what if I was the one that was sitting there hearing this for the first time like that,
yep,
you know?
yeah. Isn't that crazy that he wanted to meet Elvis just because he liked the way he sang?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I get it because like we have artists that we love that we would like want to meet. Like, I think you're like Harry Styles fan,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So like you love the way he sings, you want to meet him. So like that's understandable. But like back in the day when it was like radio and we weren't seeing like videos of people and like concerts and all these other things, like you're literally just hearing his voice and you're like, I gotta meet that guy because he sounds cool.
It's actually crazy to think because the first time I ever heard a Harry song, it was like his first album,
Yeah.
and that album's very like there's a lot of heart in that, a lot of soul into
Hmm.
that, and I heard his voice and I was like, hold on, like what?
Yeah.
And I think there's just such like a, I don't know. I feel like nowadays, you see more different things of like videos of someone or something like that, but like that wasn't my introduction to
Right.
that. So
So you relate to
yeah,
Jared.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
really think about that until now, until you mentioned that. I was like, wait a
That's
minute.
such a and something that like I feel like not a lot of people who don't like love music would understand, because like to be able to hear something beneath just like this the noise of music, to be able to hear like the passion, like the heart that is like a musician's art, is like a whole nother level. And that's something that Elvis had to like the nines. Like he I think that's what set him apart so much, is because he poured so much of himself into his music, and people could hear that, and people still hear that. Like, oh my gosh, when he hits that note, it makes me cry. It's like you become emotional when you listen to certain voices, because you can just tell that it was like sung with something deeper than just. And I feel like that lacks today in a lot of music that's made. I just feel like the passion is not there, and like
I feel like
people,
it's made for the radio, and it's like, okay, but like,
yes,
is where is the deeper meanings in that?
yeah, yeah. The feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Oh, someone asked if we can share our favorite stories from the book.
Of course. Of course we can.
Okay. Do you want
Would you like to go?
to go?
I would think you go. I have
Okay.
one. I know exactly mine.
Um,
I'm very excited because I never heard this story before I read Jerry's book. And whenever I hear new stories of Elvis, I'm like, it's Christmas, because it's so fun. But there's a story that he told, and they were like out at a restaurant somewhere. And it was like kind of a crowded restaurant, and Elvis was just like there being like in the public, which didn't really
oh,
happen a ton.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love this so much. Like I was cracking up. And apparently like Elvis like was having some fun, and like went up to the like little like host section, and like asked this random lady. He was like, "So how many in your party tonight?" And the lady was like six or whatever she said. And then he's like, "Okay, right this way." And like walks her to the table with all of her people. And he's like, um the waiter's like coming over, like, what the heck is this guy doing? And the lady's saying, are you like trying to figure out who he is? He's like, "You guys have a good night. This man will take good care of you." He like, "Thanks
Yeah.
for coming in." Like, just like, what? Like, what?
Well, for no
Please,
reason.
what are we doing? Just like having, and like he must have had so much fun with that, because he never got to do stuff like that. He went to places privately and like didn't interact with a lot of people outside of his like inner circle. So like to see him having fun like that and just being goofy, like that's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, there's so many stories that I like, but there was one part that I laughed when like they were going out somewhere or something, and Jerry went to get changed. He's like, "All right, I think this outfit works," and he walks back out, and I was just like, "Jerry, we're going out. Like, what are you wearing? Like, go get changed." Oh, he goes, he gets changed again and comes back out, and he's like, "Jerry, like, I'm serious, we're going out. Like, what are you doing?" And then they were messing with him. I'm like, I can't. Like, just
I
like
love that.
on this,
Yeah.
funny. And I also laughing too when Jerry was like, "Oh yeah, when we were on set and stuff, like all the guys would be on set, but then like me and Lamar Fike would go out grocery shopping." I'm like,
Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
so
What are
funny.
you doing?
I'm like, what?
Like,
Imagine them being like, "All right, Jerry, I need you to go get this, and this, and come back." And like, okay, we're just casually going grocery shopping for the gang. Like,
I just wouldn't. And I think he was like, I just, there was nothing I looked forward to less. He's like, I hated that. Like going grocery shopping with Mark. Like, and girl, I get that. Because what? Like, I would be hanging out with Elvis on set, not shopping for turkey. Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
But also, that's kind of cool to be able to grocery shop for Elvis.
yeah,
Yeah. I liked the story too that he told where like Elvis really wanted to exercise and like get into an exercise routine. And he was like, "I hate exercising," which I relate to. Like,
real.
nothing, there's thing I hate less than like doing a sit up. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
That
Right. Um, and like Elvis was like in his pajamas or whatever, and Jerry was just like dressed like in his dress clothes, like like coming, because he didn't know whenever Elvis would want to work out. So this one day, like whenever Elvis said we're doing something, you would do it. So Elvis is like in his jammies. He's like, "I want to work out," and Jerry's in his like
Yeah,
suit and tie or whatever.
had dinner, and he's like, "Are you like I'm just about to eat dinner?" He's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Literally. And Elvis wants to work out, and then Elvis doesn't
yeah,
even work out. He's literally like making
yeah,
Jerry do all of it, and he's
like
like
sweat.
holding his literally like holding his legs while Jerry's doing the sit-ups, like sweating bullets just in like a suit and tie. And Elvis is not even doing anything. Like
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I love
Work
that. That's
out, but
so
like not full
right.
time.
Right. That was so funny to me too.
Like,
I mean, same. I relate. I wouldn't want to
yeah,
either.
I can't do like one push up without crying a little bit.
Literally.
It's no.
Um, I'm trying to like not
Yeah,
miss anybody either.
I'm trying to like look back now. Me too. It's so hard to like read everything.
I know I feel bad. If anybody like said something earlier and you didn't hear anything from us, say it again.
Someone asked if Jerry worked with Lisa on her music.
Well, he like was the one who like
The
introduced her to the
man,
industry,
yeah.
like yeah, managed her at first when she got into it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that was interesting. Another special bond between them.
Hmm.
Something else said himself when he would do ridiculous things or for a song. Your
Mm,
listeners, that's the last thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the detail and the time he would spend in the studio, and if it wasn't right, they would do a billion takes.
Yep.
Um, which I love listening to all those like different messed up takes.
Yes. Oh
um,
my gosh,
some stuff
yes.
he'll just start saying in between and be like goofy and like, all right,
Yeah.
or and I'm like real.
Keeping it
And
interesting.
I love that they put those because it's like put those out there because I feel like the whole process of it kind of gets lost when you. And I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes I feel that way, like because I do art and stuff, and I think
Yeah.
you just see the final product and they're like, wow, that's beautiful, but they don't think about all the time and energy that gets put into it and
To get
the
there. Yeah.
mistakes and you know
Yep.
all the struggles.
Yeah.
So
Even like I think about like the movie song outtakes, and even those where like you could just tell he literally hated his life. Like he did not want to be in there singing about like scratching my back. Like, girl, nobody cares about that. And that's if you're like imagine singing If I Can Dream, but then you're also singing like A Dog's Life. Like that's just you could
no,
tell his heart it wasn't into it, but like he did take after take, and like he was in there, and maybe those are like the songs he didn't really, he was like nobody's going like, and that's even worse. Like imagine being in the studio and be like, girl, no one's gonna care about this, but then still giving it your best and like still trying to actually make it sound somewhat decent, even though the lyrics suck, even though you're over it, and even though you know it's gonna flop, like you're still in there caring about the finished product.
yeah, I mean, it gets me sad to think about how he trusted so many people and how there were so many people that just did not like obey that trust in a way,
Yeah.
um, or just kind of like he was always like, all right, everyone has best interest for me, but that wasn't always
Yeah.
true. And even like I noticed that when Jerry, like there was two or three, was there two times maybe? There was a few times where Jerry would say to Elvis like, "Oh, are you sure about this?" or like whatever, and like you
Yeah.
know like for certain things, and even with like the Stars Born things, at first he was very like enthusiastic about it, and then Jerry's like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure?" Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like all of us like we'll have like a certain dream and be like, okay, like this has to happen like this or like whatever, and
Hmm.
that's not always usually the case, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he just had so like this great passion, and it's like I don't know, like I don't know where I'm going with this,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
get what I mean.
No, well, I feel like it's interesting that you said like Jerry, because that's such like an honest thing to do too, to not like to know that like something might not be like the best idea for the time, or like you think that they could deliver something better, or you think that like this wouldn't be the best choice, whatever. And like speaking up about that just because you care about their well-being or like whatever, like to not in a friendship to have that honesty. Like in every friendship that I have, the big thing I value is honesty. And like, I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want you to be honest with me. And like, that's how you kind of make me a better person, is just like, telling me the truth. And I feel like that's something that Elvis probably really valued as well, is like getting, being able to go to Jerry and be like, Jerry, what do you actually think about this? And then Jerry being able to go to Elvis and be like, maybe this, or think about it like this, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like, I guess when you think about it, because there's just like a different depth in that friendship than I feel there might have been with maybe like other members of the Memphis Mafia in a way,
Yeah.
because like a lot of them would be like, okay, we'll do this because he said to
Right.
do this, but
Right.
here was Jerry being like, hey, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
we should think about it. And like,
Yeah.
there's, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like there are so many people who were just, whatever you want, Elvis, we'll do whatever you want, Elvis. And like,
Yeah.
that at a certain point gets to be like, just tell me actually the truth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so many people just telling you what you want to hear all the time, you don't know who to trust. And so having those people there who would actually like be real and level with him, and that's what I was saying too about Jerry, like understanding to a certain extent those things, because there was a limited amount of people that Elvis could talk about his acting career with, because they just wouldn't get
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, they weren't actors, they weren't like, they didn't share that passion for film with him. And so I think Jerry was one of those people that he could go to and like actually get a real opinion that would help him feel like, okay, yeah, like I'm bettering myself, and not just like thinking that, these people are just going to tell me whatever they think I want to hear at the time.
Yeah. And it like goes to show that Jerry had Elvis's best interest in mind,
Yeah.
and he was more there as a friend than as someone who was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think about that too with like the story in the book where they're talking about like numerology
Oh
together.
my god, I love that
Yeah,
part.
it was so
I,
good.
I,
I know. When he said Merry Christmas 6 to him, stop
I was
it.
like, I'm gonna
No.
vomit. I was like, thank you.
Literally, I teared up big time because I was like,
You're so
there's so many
good.
people that thought this was crazy for the spirituality and like for being interested in that kind of stuff. And then there was Jerry, and like they would bond over it, and like Jerry had no freaking clue like what the heck his number was or whatever, but he sat and he stayed with Elvis while Elvis like read it to him and explained to him, and they talked about it, and then he got him the ring with like the stone, and like he wore it for like the rest of, like he still wears it today, and like Lisa got him a new one, and it's like that's just really special, because I can think of so many people who were like, he was really messed up in the head, man. He was just reading these really weird books, and he was just like thinking these really crazy ideas. And then there was Jerry, who's like, no, you know what? I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna hear you out and like support you. If this is what you're into, like tell me about it. And that's a true friend to me. Like, they might not be into it like you, but they will never make you feel crazy for it. And they will sit and they will listen with you, and they will talk with you about something that means something to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I mean, everything that you just said, yeah. No, literally, like, exactly. Like, when I was
Yeah.
that, I was like, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I feel like people just think, like, oh, yeah, like, he was crazy because he was obsessed with all these different things. But then I was kind of like, I kind of put myself in that, like, his perspective
Yeah.
for a second, and I was like, but I'm like, that's literally like so many people today. Like, that's literally me as being a fangirl, or just like obsessed with anything or whatever,
Right.
or obsessed with art or music or a certain thing. It's like you become infatuated with that, but there's nothing wrong with that,
Yep.
because there's a passion that lies there, and if someone's gonna judge you for that, then that's literally messed up. But
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like, Jerry was just a very open person, and there's a lot to learn from him in that way. And the fact that he was like, all right, I'm gonna sit and listen to what you have to say, and I'm gonna learn from you, like, that I just think that's beautiful. Like, I don't know where I was going with this either,
Yeah,
but
no,
we're
you nailed it. Exactly. No, us whenever it comes to Elvis, but you're so right. Like, and that's one thing that like I'm sure you go through a lot being an Elvis fan too, but like one of the main things about being like a young person who likes Elvis is like you're constantly being judged for it in some way or another. And it's like it's weird to other people to see the level of like love that some people have for him. And so it means a lot when you like I have so many friends in my life that don't listen to Elvis music, don't really like they don't follow Elvis, they don't care, but they'll sit and listen to me or they're like they'll find like an Elvis like meme or something and send it to me and like they support me because they like me and they know that it means something to me and that means the world to me and I just like think that it would have to Elvis as well because there were so few people in general that he could even speak to. Like he didn't have he had a tight-knit group of people around him at all times, the same people that he would talk to. And like so let alone like imagine if every single one of them like didn't care. Like he'd feel so lonely. And I think that's one of the main reasons too, which is kind of off topic, but like that he sought out that like confidence in you know, some women too. Like he just wanted somebody to talk to, somebody that would like maybe like think about things with him and like read with him and just like have like a new perspective. Cause can you imagine going through your entire life with the same group of people forever? Like you'd learn nothing. Like you want to learn from other people, you like need that. So I understand like it could get crazy. Like living his existence, I will never be able to wrap my head around it because it's
complex. Yeah.
yeah, like craziness. But yet he still lived it and was like, is still one of the smartest men like that I will ever know. Smartest man that I'll ever know. And like the most like like deep, like just I don't know. And he did it all with just like his own like desire to learn stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I felt like Jerry really explained that very well in the book too. He was saying how Elvis always had a desire to learn, and like,
Yeah.
even though he didn't go to like college or anything like that, people just thought like, oh, he's this poor guy from Memphis, whatever, that just got big. Like,
Yeah.
he was still always looking for something greater and for a purpose in his life. And
Right.
it's something very admirable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of my favorite things about him is
Yeah.
just that he wanted to, find the deeper meaning. He just was not superficial at all in so many regards, just giving away things and knowing that like why am I really here? Like what is my purpose? And just always searching for that kind of okay. Like maybe that's Elvis just like giving me a thumbs up and being like, yeah, girl,
Good job.
good job, girl. But yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I just love learning about the show. I love learning about him. I think it's just so
Yeah.
interesting. There's so many
Yeah.
layers to it, and yeah, I don't. I'm just like sometimes I'm at a loss for words when I'm going on about this stuff because there's just so much to digest.
I know. I
Um,
know. I feel you. I feel you.
yeah, but I feel just like this was the book that every single page I just kept going. I was like, "Aw,
Yeah.
aw."
Aw.
Put it down a few times and be like, "Oh my god, I need a tissue. Like I'm gonna
Yes.
cry."
Yes.
And even though a lot of the story was very, there was a lot of like really great moments between them. I felt like Jerry was very real and saying like, we both had tempers, we both had
Yeah.
arguments, we get along sometimes,
Right.
but the fact that like without a word they would all of a sudden be in a room together and they would just go hug each other and not say anything and they understood each other on that deeper level.
I
I cried.
cried. That story of like them having that huge blowout and then Jerry like getting ready to quit and going home and
Yeah.
like packing all of his stuff.
Yeah.
And then Elvis just like stands in the doorway and like gives him a quick hug and like helps him unpack his stuff. Just like without saying a word, just like puts his stuff back in the drawer. Like, you're not going anywhere. Like, I'm sorry. Without even saying anything. And like that's crying like every single time. That's one of my favorite stories too. It's just like because if you know Elvis, you know he had an ego and whatever. It was very rare for him to say I'm sorry. It was. But like to Jerry, he like told a lot of stories of Elvis like coming to him and being like, "Listen, man, I screwed up and like I'm sorry and I want to be honest with you." And even if it was like moments like that where it wasn't like a verbal thing, it was more of like a let me show you how I feel thing. Or like times where he had to go to him and be like, "Elvis, I'm sorry," or like, not Elvis, Jerry, I'm sorry that I did this or whatever. Like that was a big thing for him to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
that shows also how like close they were too and how comfortable they were with each other, I feel like.
I mean, the amount of times too that Jerry had other opportunities to like go to other people's shows and do other
Mhm.
things. Maybe I shouldn't do that because I think Elvis is gonna get upset. And
Yeah.
he's like, never mind, I'm gonna go home. Like,
Yeah. I'm gonna
who
go home.
who would do that? Like, you know how many people would probably be like, nah, I'm going to the show. I don't care.
Yeah.
He was always thinking of Elvis, and in that way, Elvis was always thinking of him. And it was kind of
Yeah.
like, as people say, like Elvis was kind of like a big brother to him. And I feel like,
Yeah.
in so many respects, he was, because I feel like they both had that sense of caring about other people before caring about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's why their friendship works so well, because they were so similar in that aspect.
Yeah, I agree. And like you were saying too, like I think Joey did a really like good job of preserving that friendship in ways where if he could tell like, things were getting rocky or he just needed a break or he needed a change of pace, he felt like he needed to do something different. He was able to go to Elvis and say that to him. And Elvis, I don't think ever once like pitched a fit about it. Like he was always like, you do what you got to do, man. Like
Yeah,
you call me
right.
whenever, like I'm still here. And he is constantly reminded of like how their friendship wasn't based off of what they could do for each other. Their friendship was based off of just how much they loved each other. And like that's something, again, I keep saying it, but I'm sure Elvis valued that so much because being who he was constantly questioning like, are they doing this because of me or are they doing this because of what I can give them in return?
Yeah, I mean, to that one point where Elvis bought Jerry a truck and he was like, Elvis, I don't need this. And Elvis like, girl, what? And
Yeah.
then like electrician or whatever. He's like, here, you want it? And he's like, sure.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that like totally threw him off, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I see what kind of friend you are. Like you're not just here to munch off me. And
Right.
but I thought that was so funny. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give this truck to some other guy. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Just little moments like that. I'm sure that means so much to him too. Like I just keep thinking of that, but yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the the biggest part is when Elvis buys Jerry a house and what he says to him, that killed me, because he's like, you lost your mom before you could have a home, and I'm gonna give you a home. And I was like,
Yeah.
goodbye. I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Yep.
And the fact that he still kept that house after the fact and
Yeah.
just cherished so many things. And one thing that I think about too is that I don't notice in a lot of other books is Jerry directly thanks Elvis for everything. At the end of the book, he's
Thank
like, "Thank you."
you. Yeah.
Who,
Yeah.
you know, there's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
The,
yeah,
the gratitude, like gratitude trumps all,
uh-huh.
and it really comes off
And the fact
across
he
that
wrote
way.
it for Lisa Marie
Yes.
even just proves more how important it was for him to get out
Absolutely.
there in a way that she could remember her father in that light,
Yep.
um, and experience that bond between the two of them through what he.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They had, oh my gosh, I always think about like Jerry's speech about Lisa too that he made at her memorial. And like that's you could just tell. You can tell by the way that he chooses to like reflect on their time together, just like he did in Elvis's book. Um, you know, the how he reflects on the time that he spends with these people can you can just see, you can tell how much he cares about them and how it's not all show and it's not all just empty words. It's just like there was a true love for Elvis and his daughter there. And in Priscilla too, he talks about like how, they've always been really good friends and that he, is very close to her. And that's something that you don't really see a lot of, I don't think either, is like that close knit of just somebody being close with like the people that he also loved. Like Elvis also, like, let me, I'm going to take care of them because I know that you would have wanted that. You know, if you couldn't, then I'm going to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Jerry, come on the live. I'm just
Literally
kidding.
so much to like.
Ugh.
I can't. Like I'm never get. I just can never get over the book. I firmly can't.
It's so
And
good. It's one of the best.
no, literally, I was like, I don't even know. I can't even. I can't even get the words out.
I know.
But yeah,
It's
I will. I
it's
literally will defend Jerry till the end of time. I'm.
he's he's a special guy for sure. He is.
Um, but just like the level of just stories and like the life that he lived is just that it's also just like inspiring because it's like he came from nothing
Yeah.
and didn't have a mother and then he went through all these experiences and it's like wow,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I appreciate too is how he made it apparent that he did have struggles with different things and financially and stuff like that, and it wasn't always like, okay, I have this and this because Elvis helped me out with that.
Yeah.
And like he went out and bought his own I almost just said microscope. He bought his own motorcycle on his own, and Elvis was like, actually, I'm gonna pay like the rest of that and then get everybody a motorcycle because you have one. And I think that's cool. And
Right.
it's always like I feel like Elvis was always interested in other people's interest, and like the same thing with like the whole ranch situation, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times, like people don't know much about like the whole ranch thing unless like you're really like an Elvis fan or whatever. But
Yeah.
I also
Well,
like there was a big point in Elvis and Me Too where there was just a lot about the ranch, and I was like,
yeah.
so much to unpack there that you know, like even though it was something that was kind of like a short period of time, it was kind of long in a way, and there was so much that happened there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it meant so much to Elvis too. Like that was a place where he could really go for a while and like get away. And I think that's why he invested so much into it, is because it made him so happy and like it was an escape for a little bit. So yeah, like he would, he had a horse and then everybody else had to have a horse, and he had a tractor so everyone else had to have a tractor. And he wanted that like family like feel and vibe to everything he was doing. Like he wanted to do it with other people. He wanted to share it with other people. Like what's the fun in doing it by yourself? So like, everybody had to have their own house on the property so they could be there all the time. And then we could all just hang out together all the time. And so yeah, he was really like invested in trying to make sure it meant as much to everybody else as it did to him, which I think is special too.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought too, because you could kind of see that he had this level of loneliness, and that's why he always had people around in a way.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if people really think about this a lot, but sometimes I think because he was a twin and losing that twin, I mean, I have that similar experience myself, and I always thought there's like a level of loneliness there um, that I feel almost every day of my life. So I wonder if that was something that stuck with him, and maybe too
Yeah,
with his mother because his mother was also a piece of his brother in a way too. Like,
absolutely.
and the amount of losses that he had in that respect, it's like that wanting that connection again with family and bringing people together, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
about it too, like he was an only child throughout his life, so he had, his few family members and things to look up to, but he was trying to find things out there to kind of
Yeah, yeah, fill
fill
that.
that void.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like also like he never like there's such like a level of like like an obstacle of what he could do. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't just go out and like be social and be in public places and be able to do all of these things. And so I feel like he really tried to surround himself with people because how else would he like he would feel so lonely if he wasn't with, he would never have like that traditional, and being raised in like southern roots and like, the South, where it was so common for there to be like that traditional family style household. I'm sure something that like he may have wanted at some point. So like he was never going to get just that quiet little house life that he may have he did experience growing up, but then also like found other people living out as well, like in his childhood and teen years and whatever. And something that I think he definitely maybe wished for, like as he was an adult, like sometimes he just wished he could have his wife and his kid, and like that would be that, but he would never be able to just have a normal existence of that. So I feel like he tried to bring in that normalcy with like his friends and like create a family that he would always be with in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean, like that level of fame and things like that.
Hmm.
Imagine there's, only like few people that you can really trust, and to
Right,
have those people in your corner and those people there from the very beginning,
right,
like just starting from playing football on a field,
right. Oh my
well,
gosh, right. Can you imagine?
wild, like literally, yeah.
Meant to be though, like meant to be. That's just, I don't know.
Mm,
Like you look at stories like this and you're like, it happened in such a specific way that it was so meant to be. Like you just were meant to be in each other's lives. You were meant to like impact each other in the ways that you did. And like everything that happened, I don't know if you think this way, but like just like puzzle pieces that connect that are just supposed to like, that was meant to be for you. And I feel like Jerry was meant to be, right spot, right time, meeting, this guy that he looked up to so much, and the rest was just
I mean, to
history.
think that like if he wasn't there that day, none
Right?
of it could have happened.
Right. Yeah.
It's wild to think about. Like
Yeah.
what would,
Yeah.
and I mean, I think we constantly are like, what would this be like? What would that be like?
Hmm.
But you know,
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. The magic of it all, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show that no matter what, like things are meant to happen the way they happen, and we can't take that for granted. You know,
Yeah. Absolutely. Look at us looking at the deeper meaning of Jerry Schilling in his
literally.
life.
I'm
I love it.
very
I love it.
down for you if you need help with that.
Yeah. Literally, please, if we request you, will you join the live, Jerry?
I don't, he doesn't even have like an Instagram though. I don't think.
No, he doesn't. So that's a moot point. But
Yeah. Um.
listen, we can make it happen.
I think I would cry. Like I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be like,
You gotta meet him. Like, we gotta get you to Jerry somehow.
oh my god,
She's like, I don't know about that one.
no, because like the few times that I've been in the presence of a celebrity, I've like zoned out a little. I'm
Yeah,
like,
gonna lose it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
I
listen,
yeah.
you never know,
Mhm.
because if there's one thing that I've learned, like being a younger Elvis fan, like the one con is that like you're kind of late to the party and all these people are getting up there and like you just don't know how much time you have left with them. So if there's any chance that you might have to like talk to them or just like shake their hand or whatever, like girl, take it because you never know.
That's why I go to a concert that I can, especially if they're
Yes,
like on their last tour, because it's important
yes, yes, yes. To experience that, yeah, for sure.
and to get that piece of history before
Yep.
we don't have. I mean,
Right.
have it, but like not
Right.
present. You go it.
Right. Because then it'll just become like, oh, we'll read about you. Because, that's what we do. We just read about these people. We read about Elvis. We read about, and now like Lisa Marie, like we'll be reading about her and her life and, trying to piece together all that stuff. So if you have the opportunity to go up to people and like, even if you don't like them, you know what I mean? And like, let's be real, there's people in the Elvis world that, you might not vibe with.
Yeah,
But even them, I would go up to them and like listen to what they have to say because it's important and it'll always help you like understand a little bit more of the people in his life who, impacted him and who he impacted as well. So,
yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it all. I mean, I feel like just going to Graceland, like especially during, you know, Elvis weekend, like
hmm
his birthday, like you meet so many people, and it's like you meet so many people from his life directly, and
right.
it's like it it's crazy, but it is a magical experience, like
Yeah. Totally.
literally. Uh,
Totally.
and I feel like there's more of a understanding when you physically meet someone because it's like you're seeing that history in the present and how much
Sure.
it matters.
Right.
And yeah, yeah. So if anyone has never been to Graceland, please go. We highly suggest you do.
Oh,
There's so
yes. Oh, yes, we do.
many people that you'll meet, and
Yeah,
it really sticks with you. And yeah,
absolutely.
I mean the fact
I can't.
that and we're here now, so
No, seriously, seriously, we have that like to thank for
absolutely.
and I just yeah, I mean, I encourage you guys like if you're ever in Memphis and you go to like Elvis Week and you see somebody, just don't because I've talked to people too like oh, I was just too shy, like I didn't know what to say, like it doesn't matter, like go up to them and they'll know what to say to you. They do it all the time. They talk to Elvis fans all the time, you know. So like they'll one of my favorite experiences was like talking to Bill Morris. Um, who was like the mayor of Shelby County at some point, and he's in a couple pictures with Elvis at like George Klein's wedding, like those like really good shots of him in the velvet. Like we love you, Bill, but like 10 Outstanding Young Men, like Bill was a real one, but like I talked to him for like 30 minutes this one time just about like not even about Elvis. It was just about like life and like your values and like following your heart and just like the most pure conversation that I've ever had. And like I came home and I just wrote it all down. I was like, I never want to forget what he told me about just like being yourself and like going for it because you never know what might happen if you just take a chance. Like just these like really wise words. I'm like, that is so like Elvis truly and sounds crazy, but Elvis like I could see why he had them around because like he places people now in our lives who it's like you learn something from these people. Like I think of every Elvis person that I've ever met, even if I don't vibe with them, I've learned something from them, and it's really, really a special experience for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just like so many different wise words and things, especially from people, you know, that were there all the way back when, and they're still
Yeah.
there. There's just so much to learn and experience from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've
And
seen a lot in their
like an
lives.
amazing story that you have there.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I can say is I'm normally a very shy person, but one thing when I'm in Memphis, I feel like that shyness just goes away
Yeah.
because everyone's so nice. I
Yes.
That's something hard to say about usually,
Yeah.
but everyone is just so nice and so sweet, and they really give you your full attention, and it's like they like to see that you're interested and they're interested, and
Yep.
I just love.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't get that energy anywhere else than there.
The energy there is like bottle it up, girl, and like take it home with you because
Yeah,
there's truly nothing else like it. Truly, like just being there. Like I don't know. Oh, I miss it so much.
yeah.
Ugh,
Okay.
I can't wait to go
I
back
know.
soon.
I'm gonna cry.
Soon. I know. Ugh. Oh my gosh, soon. I'll have to go look at my countdown when we're done.
Yeah, I think the last time I checked it was like 200 days or
That
something.
just like makes me want to cry.
I remember when it was like 365. Like I put it like on the actual. I was like,
Don't.
oh,
No, because that's one thing I stopped doing was starting the countdown like the day after because like I literally set into depression. Like I cannot handle that number. I just can't.
yeah, it'll go fast though. We'll get there.
It will. I agree. I agree. January's almost over, so hey,
Yeah, new year, guys.
2026. 2024. It's gonna be a good one.
Wild.
I know. 8 year. Woohoo!
Um, does anyone else have any other questions? I feel like we've been rambling low-key, but like in a good way.
True.
You
Yeah.
know,
If
we could
you're
talk for
confused,
hours and
we
hours.
could.
Like, honestly.
We could.
Yeah. Yeah.
All good stuff though. Like I just
Hmm.
like talking about Elvis. Like that's it.
I really do.
Yeah.
I,
So much fun.
I've just turned into a big like music biography buff, and now I read everything about everything.
I love that. I love that. That's my favorite thing. Like, oh my gosh, why did I think that that comment said I missed the beginning of this live? Can you repeat what you said? I was like,
Um,
what?
oh my god, yeah, we'll be here like another 3 hours.
Stop.
It will be posted to Instagram afterwards. There's like a thing they'll be like, "Would you like to post?" And I always say yes, so you can go back and rewatch it from the beginning. But you'll
Yes.
probably see me for like a minute just sitting here like
Waiting for me to get my life together and come on.
asked, "Would you own a piece of Elvis hair or clothing?" Oh,
Don't know
yeah,
about the hair.
yeah. I feel like if I had one of his scarves, I would be happy. That would be wild.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
actually, Judy Benwall,
Yeah.
she wrote, she's the photographer that took all those photos. I have her book
Yes,
back here.
yes.
Always advocating for it because I love her
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
Um, he has a billion of like his scarves, not necessarily.
Judy.
He has so many of his scarves. And when she was on tour, not tour, oh my god, tour of the house
Yeah.
with my friend from Australia, she had all the scarves and was like, "Oh, these are my scarves, like my scarf collection." Like,
Judy.
girl,
Judy. My scarf collection.
yeah,
Judy. Share with us.
I
I'm just kidding.
literally love her. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's so special.
a little
I love them.
interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, if
No,
what you're for, then sure, but
yeah, yeah,
first,
yeah.
yeah,
The hair, not,
yeah,
no, not so much. Yeah, but definitely, like, even a swatch. Like, I'd take a swatch.
real, real.
I'd be into that. I'd be into that. Um, Maggie, I love you. Thank you for coming and watching, Maggie. It's literally like 1, almost 2 a.m.,
Oh
so
God,
for her. I know, me
thank you,
every
girl,
day.
for joining. I love that.
She's been my owl. I love her so much. What book is
Oh,
next? Someone wants to know.
oh,
Are we allowed to share that or not yet?
I don't know. Should I share it now?
It's up to you, girl. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I said we. I
Okay,
have no idea what it is.
I guess well, first I'd be like, anyone has a guess, like,
Guys,
because it's gonna be
yes,
Times Day, so that's
it's gonna be that.
mind.
Okay, so wait, we already did Dixie's.
Mhm.
Did we do June's? Is it
Mhm.
June's? That
Here, spot
is,
on,
oh,
spot on.
that is the perfect Valentine's Day selection.
I was like, I have to. I was like, that's so cute, perfect. Valentine's Day energy.
That is
Get back.
a gorgeous
Yeah.
choice. Literally, June's book is top tier. It's
I
so good.
have not read it yet, which is crazy.
Girl, you're gonna die. You're gonna die dead on the floor.
Because I was looking for it forever, and I was like, I don't know. And then I found it. I was like, okay. And then those Elvis girls sent me a copy too, so I have two of them.
Girl,
So
keep those. They're getting hard to find.
yeah, so yeah, me and my mom are gonna read it at the same time and discuss. So
You should have. Is your mom gonna come
if
on?
she wants to,
Lisa,
gotta ask
you should
that.
come on.
Gotta ask about that. Like she has to be on one day
Yeah. Oh,
because
oh,
she,
get the queen on here.
like she has so much information. I swear, I literally get an Elvis fact a day. Like even if I heard it before, she said yes with a lot
Lisa.
of.
Lisa. You're gonna die. Like you're gonna be on the floor dead after that book.
I
It's so
heard it.
good.
I heard it's so good.
So amazing, incredible. And she's another one that like tells it like it is, like very real, very honest. And I appreciate that about her too. So I can't wait to hear what you think.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, I love it. I'll be reading with you, girl, because like that's a good book to ring in the Valentine's Day
Yeah.
holiday. Hmm.
I'll have to figure out what's all after that because I've had it planned up to June so far, so I didn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't
Like,
I can't wait. Oh, yay. That's so
oh
exciting.
yeah, my mom said we need to get our hands on Anita's book, which is so true because that's impossible to.
Arlene Kogan?
What?
Is that what you said?
No,
Arlene?
Anita.
Oh, Anita. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, is that one
yeah,
hard to find too?
yeah.
All these books are becoming rare and it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. That one's good. That one's really
Well,
good.
that's
It gives
like impossible, and I was like, oh,
Oh, that one used to be on Amazon, is it not anymore?
I don't know. I gotta look.
Check
And the
Amazon maybe.
funny thing is, I work at a library, and I check the system every day. I'm like, so what we got here?
She's like, what do we have in stock?
And it's funny because the librarian at my job was like, yeah, we used to have like a ton of like Elvis books. I'm like, what did you do with
Yeah,
them? Like,
give them to me.
because there's so many times where we withdraw a ton of stuff, and I'm like, please
Yeah,
give me that. Like we had
yeah.
David Bowie book last week. I was like, I will take that.
You
Thank
want that?
you. Like I will 100% take that.
Yeah.
Like why are we getting rid of this stuff? Like no.
What do they do with it? They just throw it or
If it's like really gross, they throw it, but if it's not, then we sell it.
okay.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
a good. Like they get refurbished and
Okay. Yeah, okay, we gotta find you
yeah.
Anita's book.
That there's so many things I'm on the hunt for.
Yeah, you need well, I thought you said Arlene's book and her book is like 600 bucks. I
Jesus.
know. But it's really good. It's another one that's like Elvis in the 50s, like a side of him that you don't really get to read too much about from that perspective. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, my mom just my mom goes tell Mary about the Elvis ladies we saw the other night at our local restaurant. Yeah, so there is an Elvis impersonator um
Love.
that comes to this Italian restaurant in my town once a month. And,
Okay.
um there's these ladies that always come and they're like hardcore and I love them. Um,
I love
and I
it.
actually saw this lady that my mom met at the movie theater when that Elvis like documentary came out that
Uh-huh.
one day. And they met, and then we saw her again in Memphis and everything. And we saw her there last night, which was funny. She was like, "I live 30 minutes away, but I came over here to see him,"
I'm 30 minutes
um,
away.
and like this is amazing, and it was so cute. I love it. We go every month, once a month to that.
That's so fun. What? I want to
Yeah,
go.
you gotta come to New York, and I'll bring you.
Yes. I live so, well, not so close. I live like 2 hours-ish from New
And the
York.
bartender there, he is also obsessed with Elvis, and he sometimes does a duet with the impersonator. And
Oh my
with
gosh.
Priscilla from like years ago that he has signed, and he has like Elvis pictures up by the bar, and I got him a shot glass when
Yeah.
last summer, to put there, and he was like, "Thank you, I love this." It's just like, it's like he'll just have the
Love
all
that.
time.
Yeah.
It's like you go in on dedicated. Like I love him. It's
Yeah.
perfect. And
I
down over
love,
from me, so I'm like, this is so perfect. Like
there you
I
go.
can't make this up.
There you
Yeah.
go. I, I love when you meet people like that in like your real life. You're like, oh my gosh, people like you do exist, not in Memphis.
And
That's so awesome.
they had someone brought a cake. We had an Elvis birthday cake.
Oh
All
my gosh.
glasses. It was wild. I was like, this is the energy.
That's so sweet. What?
Yeah, it was so funny.
I'm coming. I'm coming over to visit. We're going there. That would be
It's like
so fun.
I love it. I mean, I love all the events like that and stuff like that. Actually, I saw D&Z. Um, was that last week? Did we? I don't know. I was sick after that.
Um,
But that was great too. He's always
did
really.
he, was he in New York?
He was in Jersey.
Okay, okay. Not too far then.
Um, but yeah, yeah. Again, I say
Fun.
to anyone go to those shows and things because it's fun and you meet
Yeah.
people. Um,
There you go.
and even
Yep. Celebrate his
let you
music.
talk online and like all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
friends.
Yep. Yeah. It's great.
Make that up.
Celebrating his live music in person. It's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I haven't been to a tribute show in like my hometown in so, so long. I think like
Do they have them often by you?
no, that's the thing. There was one, I don't remember where it was. was, if I'm being honest. But it was like maybe 2 hours away from me or like an hour away from me
Yeah.
that I went to like right before COVID hit. Um, and then I went to one in Jersey, and I think that was the last one I've been to. And then like all the ones obviously in
Yeah.
Memphis. But they're so fun. Like you get so lit, and it's so fun to like celebrate that music with like people who obviously care enough to be there that they like it enough,
Yeah.
you know. So you're just having fun with all these people. I like it when they turn on the flashlights and they like go crazy.
Yeah.
That's that's fun. Good times.
Yeah. I feel like the spirit is just so alive in that, and I love that.
Yes. Yes. That's what makes it the best.
And I love how there's so many events when you go for Elvis Week and everything like that. And, you know, I feel like it just brings people together further than just like, all right, we're taking a tour of the house. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're experience everything with everybody
Yeah,
and meet
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's the best time of the year, period.
literally, it's our Christmas.
Oh, yeah. It's better. And listen, I'm a Christmas girl, and it's just a little bit better than Christmas. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, I'm happy
So,
that we get to chat about this and that there's so many,
well,
you know, people that are into Elvis now, especially, you
yes.
know, and um, it's just nice to see all this, like, you know, because I guess I felt like as a kid, I always liked a lot of older things, and I guess
Yes.
once, you know, of my parents, my grandparents, things like that, and I felt like so many kids my age just didn't get what I got, and I was like, who am I gonna meet that gets me to
Ooh,
the level, and
you
then
are speaking to the choir, literally. Like me. I'm so grateful for friends like you, for real. Not to get cheesy, but I
yeah,
am, because like it's hard. It is hard to like, feel like you're the only one who cares about something. And if you bring it up to somebody else, they might not care as much or make fun of you if you talk about it. So being in this community, I always say, is like the biggest blessing ever, because like it's so refreshing to just see people like you doing what you do and like doing it so well and like loving him so well. And I'm just like very grateful to have been a part of what you do. So thank you for having me.
thank you for being on. I'm honored that you joined.
Oh my gosh, anytime,
Literally,
anytime.
I just started this. Like, this whole book club was just a whole thing for fun because I was like,
Yeah,
I need to get more reading done and I'd like to learn more.
there
So
you go.
that's what happened.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's going great.
cool about it. So
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. That's the beauty of it, right? Like that's the like that's the best thing about the Elvis community, I feel like, is getting to learn and then like talk about that with other people who bring you like new insight and new opinions and ways to think about him and his life. And I just love like that conversation. So I've this has been fun for me.
and
This has been very fun.
I'm so excited to see what you do next with all your
Thank you. Thank you. You'll have to come and chat and rant with me next.
on for hours.
Yeah. No, I'm down. You're on the list. Like you have to come and we'll have to chat about everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
That'd be so great.
figured out already. Um,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yay.
it's so
Oh,
exciting.
yes.
Wow, we've been
2024.
2 hours. It's wild. I think this is my longest one yet.
It flew by.
I think
I could do it
vibe
for
we vibe too well. That's the problem.
we're just too good, guys. We're too good
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed our ranting.
Yeah. Listen, I cannot wait to join the next one when we talk about Miss June, because
I'll post the official thing soon. I just haven't set it up.
okay.
I like to take a pleasing photo. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Yeah. All your posts are so cute with like the little pink vibes. I'm
I try a
obsessed,
little
first of all.
too hard. It's like
No.
I take one history of graphic design class. I'm like, this needs to be a certain. I
It shows though. I love people who like put like effort into like their designs of like their posts and stuff like that. I think the aesthetic posts are I love it.
I literally always send it to my graphic design friend. I'm like, does this look okay? Does it
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
okay?
They do. They do. I can confirm. They look so cute. So I can't wait to see. Oh, the Valentine's Day one is gonna be pink. Oh, I'm crying.
Fully pink. It's always pink here. As you may
Yes, yes.
know,
Your nails.
those Elvis girls and my nails. Yeah,
Yes. Oh my
it's
gosh, I'm obsessed.
nails,
Your
guys.
your vibe, and it matches. it matches your like your whole account aesthetic, like your nails, your paint, like it's giving. You are the paint
Well,
queen. I love
but
it.
you're also the pink queen. You have a pink wall.
Girl, the way I painted my room when I was in third grade, and it's gonna stay this way.
It's so perfect. It,
Thank you.
it goes so well.
Thanks. I've trying it's been growing on me a little bit. I used to hate it. I was like, no, they need to be beige. But then it's like, girl,
Love it.
there's nothing exciting about a beige wall.
Everyone, 2024 is the pink era. Okay.
Right. Paint your room bubblegum pink and live a
Yeah.
little,
Up on the trend.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's go. Except it won't be called bubblegum pink. It'll be called the TCB book club
Oh,
pink.
yeah, yeah.
That's the new shade that we want.
Create my own color. I'll make a paint swatch of it.
Please, I would buy it and redo my room. So
Does anyone else have any closing remarks or anything for us that we should mention before we, I guess, come to?
let us hear it. Let us hear it, guys.
Yeah.
Speak your piece.
Yeah.
Speak your piece. We still have 16 people. Good
I know this
night.
is like iconic.
Mhm.
Either we've put half the people to sleep or we've kept half of them on.
Right. They're just listening to us talk about pink walls and all that
Yeah,
jazz, and they're still here.
we're going on a rant. I'm so sorry, everyone.
No.
Now they're gonna be like, if they talk again, I don't know if I want to listen.
No, they will come. They will come. I know they will. Oh my gosh.
Love you too, Ma. My mom.
Lisa,
She always.
let me tell you, I love that woman so much. Lisa, can't wait to see you. The countdown is on for real.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
We literally talk about it every day. We're like, okay, how many
How many
days?
literally,
Yeah.
literally. And you guys are booked, so hey,
Yeah.
you're halfway there.
I literally think we booked as soon as we came home. We were like, okay.
And that's how to do it.
What do you mean? And we're like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
going. So
we're going back.
yeah,
Yeah. No, once you do one Elvis week, you will never miss. I guarantee. And if you do, it'll be the worst year of your
yeah,
life. Yeah.
literally.
You're hooked. You do one and you're
My
hooked.
dad doesn't get it, but we're trying to get him into. We took him to a tribute show, and then he was singing this song.
Okay.
We're getting him
Okay.
there slowly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. What's your dad's name?
Anthony. Yep.
Anthony. All
Yep.
right. Anthony.
Yeah,
You can do it. Bring him to Elvis Week. He would live.
he would
Come
love the
on.
cars though. He loves that old cars. Like he'll
Yeah.
when he sees one of, we're like, oh my god! I'm like, Dad, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh. You would love the car museum,
Yeah, he'd love that.
Yeah.
Probably standing there for 10 hours and be like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's got to come. Come on now. Anthony, 2024 is your year. Oh my gosh, I love it.
was there anything else that we missed?
I don't think all the comments stopped showing up for me, so it's on balls in your court. I don't know where we are.
Oh, my mom goes, your dad would complain about the heat. Yeah, he would. He's like a child, but he can't hang. He tried.
Dang. Yeah, well, listen, it is pretty brutal, so I understand where he's coming from.
I'm trying to scroll through everything. I think we pretty much got everything. If we didn't, you could just comment on the video afterwards and we can reply. Yeah.
Wise.
Yeah.
Wise idea.
I hope it uploads the whole thing because this was long, but
It should. I don't think there's a cutoff. Once upon a time, there used to be a cutoff on lives. You could only go live for
yeah,
like an hour, I think.
because the first live I did with Christy, I was on for an hour and then we knocked off, and I was like, oh,
Oh my gosh,
like
really?
for other people knocked off, but we were still on 10. It was weird. It was
Oh yeah,
very weird.
there was two parts to that one, wasn't
Yeah.
there?
And then it was just me at the end being like, hi guys, sorry.
Welcome back. Yeah, that's always the worst when you
Yeah.
have to be like, I don't know what happened,
I love
but
her though. She's great. She's amazing.
oh my gosh, that woman. So many good Elvis people. Like we could just
The
look
one.
and see.
Yeah.
Yes, she's one of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Are we
I think we're
are we
done.
done? All right.
All right, guys. We were on forever.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for having me again. I love you so much.
Yeah. God, I love you too. I'm so
Yay.
excited too. I'm following religiously.
Thank
You're
you. That means a
have
lot.
notifications on whenever you post. I'm next? What you do next?
Oh, you're so, thank you. That means so much. And you are gonna have to come talk with me now because you had me, so I have to have you
I love it. Yeah,
holding you to it.
again.
Yes,
For
this was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun.
All right.
Guys,
Because for saying good night.
no
Oh my
problem.
God.
Good night. Good night. Thanks, guys, for joining. It was so
It's
fun.
fun.
All right. Peace out.
Like hit end. Like yeah, I
I know.
do this every month and I still don't know what I'm doing. So
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. It's okay.
all right. Love you guys.
Bye, guys. See you later.